Alright, good morning everyone. This is Group 5, Arman Feigenbaum, with the title Assembly of Kasayam's Chair, a Time and Motion Study. To start off, I would like to start the presentation by introducing my group mates. I do have here Adrian Isa Gabriel Umali, followed by Ronazar Ian John Flores, and also Irvin Joshua Reyes, and yours truly, this is Charmaine Rose Montesilio. This presentation is composed of six parts, starting with the introduction, followed by the objectives, and then the statement of the problem and our theoretical and conceptual framework, followed by methodology, data gathering, and analysis, and lastly, our results and recommendation. Learning time and motion study allowed us to believe that to acquire knowledge, one must study, but to acquire wisdom, one must observe. This is a famous saying by Marilyn Voss Savant, and the group actually believes on this. Alright. This time and motion study is a video of the Kasayam's chair installation by Casa Furniture Design and Renovation from YouTube, and was assigned to the group for the observers to conduct a time and motion study. A video of the Kasayam's chair installation by Casa Furniture Design and Renovation from YouTube was assigned to the group for the observers to conduct a time and motion study. The video has a length of 11 minutes and 5 seconds, of which can be classified into two parts: preparation and assembly. The first part, preparation, of which refers to the assembly of the short screws and washers from 12 seconds up until 37 seconds, and long screws into the wood legs holes, starting of 54 seconds up until the first minute and 40 seconds, of which the performer only uses a single hand to perform the action specified, while the other is used to film as she tries to explain. The second part, assembly, pertains to the installation of the X frames into the wood legs and locking of screws, washers, and nuts, starting off the second minute and 57 seconds up until the 6th minute and 48 seconds of the video. The installation of the chair's seat, which started off from the 7th minute up until 10 minutes and 5 seconds of the video, and putting black cups, starting from the 10th minute 5 seconds up until the 11th minute to 3 seconds, was performed by using both hands while explaining the process. Placement and positioning of the camera caused some delay for part 2. Parts to be assembled were placed in the floor, which made it harder for the performer to work efficiently and safely. The performer worked on bended knees, crawling, and had kept leaning her body forward and backward to reach certain chair parts. This time and motion study aims to be able to reduce labor time through elimination of unnecessary elements, and also to improve working posture and to omit delays. The conduct of this time and motion study aims to give answers to these following questions. First, what are the certain processes that cause delays? Second, what are the effects of unsuitable working environment while performing the task? Third, what are the effects of performing a task within the limited manpower? Followed by, how did the presence or the absence of assembly tools affect the task? And lastly, what are other alternatives to conduct a more efficient or effective chair assembly? In conducting a time and motion study, productivity is the main goal. To achieve productivity, one must be effective and efficient in performing design processes and steps with different approaches that would aid improvement. Some of this includes eliminating several unnecessary processes, changing sequence of the operations, combining operations, and or possibly simplify the operation. At this point, you will now be able to see the process of methodology, data gathering, and analysis that we have conducted for this time and motion study. For us to successfully conduct this time and motion study, we actually have followed or used two methodologies, one of which is the Terblick symbols, as you can see on the left side, and also of course, time and motion study symbols, which is common for us industrial engineers that you can see on the right side. So in conducting this study, we actually need to determine several root causes, and of that, we have used the Ishikawa diagram or the fishbone diagram to determine those specific factors. One that we have determined will be the person, which includes the filming, explanation, and presentation were actually performed by a single person all at the same time. Another is that the methods or the process in which the execution of the tasks were through a single hand use and then later on was used by left and right hand. Also, there were no tools used for assembly and or installation. There were also no safety gears or equipment worn during the conduct of the activity. And lastly, the working environment is unsuitable for the task. And these all leads to lengthened assembly time.
The chart is used to describe the
Shown here
process
is our
flow
process
of the
flow
CASA's
chart.
AIMS
It's
chair
actually a
assembly.
straight flow chart,
Start.
however, it's not
The, the
or it
short
should not
screw and
fit
the
in
washer
the
assemble.
frame,
Next
so
is
I
long
have
screw and the
used
chair leg
this.
assembly.
Alright.
Next is inspect chair leg frames for straight and bend. Are the legs forming an I and a backward L? If yes, remove the plastic cups on the bottom of the seat piece. If no, assemble the chair legs and nuts with the X frame in a way that a letter L and a backward L is formed. Position the assembled chair legs in a way that in the chair leg frames are in the line with the seat face of holes. If no, remove the plastic cups on the bottom of the seat piece. Are the chair leg frame on top of the seat pieces whole? If yes, assemble the chair legs to the seat piece with a short screw. Then, assemble the blocks ends into exposed screw ends, and that's the process of the Casa Ames chair assembly.
Here you can see our work breakdown structure in which we determine the elements as first this assemble washer to short screw, followed by assemble long screw to the wood leg, followed by assemble X frame to the wood leg, and then we need to position the nuts into the wood leg, and then assemble the wood leg on top of the flip chair seat, and then assemble short screw into the wood leg frame, and then assemble black cups to the wood leg screws.
Time observation table. We have 18 elements in this table. Allowance factor allocation is 7% personal allowance plus 5% fatigue allowance equals 12% allowance factor. This total standard time is 339.87 seconds. Yield in 8 hours labor time 28,800 over 339.87 equals 84 CASA Ames chair assemblies. Conclusion: the performance rating placed by the researchers are ranging from 75% to a maximum of 90%. The researcher judged that the person in the recording is being very careful in showing the process, therefore, was moving slowly than the normal assembly speed. First, the first 75% performance is rating if was placed since the person recording is using the one-handed process, therefore, the action are inaccurate, therefore, slower. The second 75% rating was in element 16 was placed with the consideration of the lack of screwdriver or other tools that are better assembling small screws into objects. As the spinning is done by hand, the process was judged as slower than normal. Alternatives and recommendation. Use of head cameras. The first delay the researchers would assess was the use of the 100 process due to holding the camera. The researchers believe that the use of a head camera will eliminate the use of the 100 process as there will be no cameras to hold as it's now head mounted. Second is use of tables or counters. It is awkward position to expose workers to musculoskeletal disorders. With that in mind, the researchers would suggest the use of a modular workstation table for an elevated platform to work on to avoid crawling on the floor. And the last, use of ergonomic chairs. Ergonomic chairs are built to combat musculoskeletal disorders. And recommendation. The researchers would like to recommend that the company should familiarize themselves with ergonomics. Proper working condition leads to more productivity among workers, and this also means the lack of proper working conditions will lead to less productivity. For industrial engineers that would use this paper as reference, this study is focused on the time and motion study. The time and motion study requires high levels of observation, reflects data accuracy, and creative thinking.